Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk, where there was more news out of the TSM camp this week, with Sol returning to the Academy lineup and Solo now being promoted to the starting LCS position for TSM. Quite a debut for him in summer this year, as he's going to go up against Team Liquid and Bwipo in the top lane. Let's just talk real briefly about this move. Fudge, Solo just seems like the perennial LCS mercenary.
Yeah, I think he's very, very smart about which teams he joins. He thinks about it very deeply. It's actually impressive. But I also think that he's quite good. I mean, he's, I believe, better than Sol. We actually scrimmed against them twice this week, and although the games were not very close, I did think he was better than Sol laning against him, and he definitely showed signs of like understanding of matchups that other top laners have, but Sol didn't really have, I felt like. So I think he'll do fine. I don't think he'll have too many troubles going against Wippo. I think he'll be able to go even and do well.
Separately, I also just want to get your thoughts on the move of Sol back down to Academy. In looking at the messaging from TSM, seems very much his own decision. You know, we were talking earlier about players getting their opportunities in the LCS, and he's taking, you know, he's gotten that opportunity and decided it's better for him in his career in the long term to go back down to Academy. Just your general thoughts on that move? Yeah,
I think generally for a lot of the rookies coming in mid-split into the rosters, it's really, really difficult for them to play well, obviously, because they just haven't practiced and they haven't gotten that experience. And also, they're sort of just looked at as like extremely judgmentally from the entirety of the public. Everyone's sort of judging them and all the eyes are on them, and that much pressure, no rookie can really handle it. And that's, I think it's a good idea for him to go back to Academy and just keep playing well, and hopefully he'll play well in Academy and get another chance in LCS once he's more ready. But I completely understand his decision.
Awesome. We definitely will await his return back to the LCS stage when he feels good and ready. Speaking of top laners, though, and after we just watched one of the league's best in Someday dismantle Dignitas with the Sylas pick up there in the top lane, and while we have another one of the league's best here with us in front, we thought it'd be fun to play a little game, my friend. So we've got some, Jazz pulling them out. We got player heads of all of the opposing top laners in the league. And we thought it would be fun for you to, quote-unquote, power rank, you know, to a degree, all of the other top winners in the league, but on a slightly different scale, right? Normally it'd be just like a 1 to 10. We want the Fudge scale. Right. So what we've done, as we pan over here, we're going to reveal, we've built a graphic of Fudges. And basically, we would like you to evaluate all of your top lane opponents in the league by equating them to a level of Fudge.
Damn, dude, we got the side pose, good symmetry.
I know, right?
Side pose at the end, and then the side pose
Shout out to John for this graphic.
Great job.
I'm pretty sure it's him doing it.
Start wherever you want. You can start with tiny Fudge. You can start with big Fudge.
We have to start with the best top laner in the league.
Okay. Oh, of course.
Wait, where am I? Okay, I'm here. Oh, shit!
Oh, he's gone! He already killed one of his opponents.
I already killed one of them. Yeah. You're here.
Fudge.
Okay, double Fudge.
You have a Fudge-sized pimple.
Obviously, I am the best. This is not debatable whatsoever. I will continue to be the best.
I like it.
I don't care that I got behind early game. Fuck you.
Got the top, that's all that matters.
Moving on.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, the top end of the scale has been established.
Okay, yes. I'm gonna go down from the best after me. And this is actually very difficult because I think that Bwipo, Impact, and Someday are all very similar.
Okay.
I think I'm very similar to them as well in terms of skill, honestly. But I have to put myself at the best, obviously.
All right.
So you want to put them all on the same size?
Yeah. Are you think they're equivalent?
I'm thinking about it, but that's kind of boring. That's kind of boring.
Chimera? Okay.
That's kind of boring. I might put the man himself. Come here. Come
Man
here.
the myth.
I mean, like
Man, the myth, the legend.
Okay, there it is.
Because he's wide.
I think that I think he understands the map state the best out of all the top laners. I think he understands other roles. Obviously, he played jungle. He is very good at jungle, actually, when he was playing on Fnatic. And his overall understanding of the game, I think, is probably the best. Based on like playing against him, I feel like he understands where he needs to be the best out of all the top laners.
Awesome.
And I would say like the laning phases of all the top laners are all really similar. So I would say that's the edge he has over them.
Also, real world Bwipo is basically as tall as you too, so it kind of makes sense, right? Like that interview last week was the first time like both of you have looked a normal size.
I'm really hoping that he wins today so I can interview him.
Yeah, sure. So bad. Exactly.
That's what we need to hope for.
All right, so Bwipo gets a small edge over Impact someday, but now you gotta make
choose.
determinations between
Yeah,
them.
this is a little difficult,
Fudge
honestly.
are hard. He's learning now how hard
I
it is to
know.
try and rank individuals.
Jesus.
Think
okay.
twice before you flame
I
us
think
for our
next,
power rankings.
Okay, I'm gonna have to put Impact and Someday same.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, we have our
okay.
first two-headed Fudge.
I would say Impact and Someday are very similar. They're both like, I would say the same in skill in terms of laning phase as me and Wippo, but they do seem to die to a lot more ganks, possibly don't really be in the right state of them, like in mid game and late game. I would say sometimes they aren't in the right position. I would say Impact has gotten a lot better at it actually. I noticed he's been doing a lot better in LCS games specifically, but in scrims I do see a little bit of a problem with it.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Let's move up on
We
the
can
next one.
script
That's true.
it.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I'm ready.
I'm not saying that I'm beating him in scrims. I'm just saying that he's making a couple of mistakes.
I like it though.
Yeah.
You've got data sets
have
that
more
we
data.
don't have
true.
to work
That's
with.
true.
This is great. All right, so we're almost halfway through the list. All right, let's see if we can
Ooh.
steamroll a little bit because I'm being told we got to send you over
Okay,
to
okay,
the
you
have to
casters
cast
soon.
we have Philip
Oh!
right after them just because today I think he played pretty well.
Yes!
I think he performed like better than most people would expect.
Yeah.
And I mean he understands a lot of the matchups that he plays, the carry matchups pretty well.
That's
Okay.
dope. I
Nice.
love it.
Unexpected.
That's 5.
I gotta put my boy Eric Licorice.
There it
The
is.
man himself, Licorice.
Okay.
I'm pretty good friends with him from playing with him. I 1v1'd him a lot when I was the academy top laner. And I think he's really good. I think he understands a lot of the matchups pretty well. And he doesn't int too much, you know. Considering his team is probably bottom of the pack, he plays pretty well. I would say he's the best player on that team.
Yeah. Definitely curious.
Maybe you could argue River now, actually.
I was just saying, I'm definitely curious now with a different jungler behind him.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it is.
if those
This is where it
rankings
gets
will
tough.
change in a week
Yeah,
or so.
Okay.
There's 4
All right. A
left.
couple more to go.
You can
Jeez,
skip a
this is
Fudge
so
if you think there's a
guys,
drop-off.
I'm sorry to say.
Oh, my God.
Fudge.
Dude, okay.
Hoon, after today's performance, I'm sorry, buddy.
Not much to do. You just got to the
Small
new
sample
stage.
size.
Yeah.
but
It's a
sample
very small
good.
sample size. He can come back. I believe in you, buddy. Hoon,
Damn right.
Let's
Come
go.
back tomorrow. You'll shit on everybody.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what we need.
I want Fudge in the huddle tomorrow.
Okay,
I
so
know.
Yeah.
I heard Powerfox shit-talking us on the league. He was saying about how C9's top side is looking really weak. Yesterday in scrims, all I'm going to say is a little CLG was looking a little weak. So I'm going to have to
Yes.
put this guy. Yeah. Although I did say that he's my most
Small
improved player,
dokes.
most improved player for
Most
this year.
improved player.
But I have to put him down there just because of what Powerfox said. You know,
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
My ego's too big.
Wow, Doke caught astray.
Okay, Solo. Ooh.
No.
Okay. I think Solo is probably. I'm gonna have to leave a gap a little bit here.
Okay.
I'm gonna put Solo like here.
All right.
I think he's like general. Actually, no man.
Medium to small Fudge.
Please change. You're
Oh,
you're
okay.
change.
Okay,
I
okay,
don't think
okay.
he's. Okay, no,
It's tough.
Wow.
Okay,
Yeah,
go.
okay, there it is.
Okay, he's going there.
Fudge necklace.
All right.
Yeah, it's a
Who
nice
do we-
necklace.
Who do we
And
have
then
left?
we got Revenge.
Where's
I'm
Revenge
good
going?
friends with Revenge, so I feel bad for this, but
You have 3 different places to place
Yeah.
him between the Dokeless Solo combo. and
Well,
the
I
case.
think we probably should have printed 2 revenge faces. One for the Aatrox game, and then one for the rest of the split.
the Aurelia game against TL like a year ago.
Yeah.
that was a pop-up game.
Jack remembers that.
Yeah, I do.
I'm gonna have to put him in the middle.
There it is.
Okay,
Okay.
there it is.
Nice
There it
I
is.
think you'll be fine.
All
I
right.
think Revenge is actually pretty good. I do think that he's like pretty good at a lot of matchups, carry matchups specifically.
Amazing. Well, Fudge,
crushed it.
thank you so much for running
problem.
through all these top winners. We're going to take the time to discuss your list a little bit while you book it on over
Yeah,
to
you
the
gotta go
cast
cap
deck. Get yourself loaded up for this game. It's going to be a big one. TSM, TL, thank you so much for joining us, my friend, and best of luck with your cast, all right?
Thank you.
All right, head out
Amazing
that
luck,
way.
guys.
Just speed up on
You
with
run
your
off
Puma
that way.
gear and
Somebody,
everything.
somebody will come grab you. Thank you very
Okay.
much. All right, talk to me, Jap.
So the reason this is the new standard for tier lists is because it allows more nuance than a 1 to 10.
It's true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah,
So
I like it.
It doesn't always have to be Fudge faces, but just look at what he was able to accomplish here. Someday Impact tied for 3rd.
Yeah.
You put a T3, it looks lame on a tier list. You put it here, it looks important.
That's true.
You know, having gaps being like, there's a big licorice to Dokla gang.
Yeah. Here's my question: Is putting a face below Dokla, is that like a half step down? Because notice how the two that are tied over here in third, it's like that's a true tie. Is this a 9 and 9.5 kind of situation?
Depends on the value of the medallion. If the necklace is that valuable.
He's actually the bling on it. I love it. That's so brilliant.
That's the most important part of the accessory, so we'll take it.
I do love, though, that actually we get that little bit of influence from the scrims that go on behind, right? And so getting to hear a player kind of talk honestly about, like, well, you all see one thing on stage, but damn, I struggle against this guy in scrims, or nah, I smashed him this week, so he's going right down to the bottom of the list.
The coolest thing was hearing about Philip, right?
Yes.
Because previously when we had Fudge on, he's like, oh man, yeah, I'm gonna smash that kid.
That was probably the biggest surprise.
And yeah, so like talking to the team, they're like, oh yeah, Philip always wants to go in. He's always looking for those angles. So to hear Fudge say like he was impressed with his laning as well, and he's done a lot better than expected, was really, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Raz, how did you even end up with that?
what?
How'd you get the...
Look,
When
I took
did
the
you
question
pick that
mark
up?
just in case, because when he
because
started
you're going to put a
saying-
question mark ping over one of his
exactly.
rankings.
All right,
Somehow
I'm being
that's
told
it.
that
Just in
Fudge
case.
is locked and loaded up at the caster desk and ready to go, so we're going to hand it back over to the casters and our good friend Fudge to get into this game. Enjoy.
I'm still subscribed to CoreJJ's Twitch. I mean, I just watch his VODs whenever I can. I think he has very strong fundamentals, and he's the most consistent probably in terms of laning. Like, I think he makes every ADC's life easier, and that's why players like working with him, because you just know what you're getting out of him, and he won't like make a mistake in terms of, or like an egregious mistake. He just might not play it like insanely kind of thing. Like, but he's always there and he's always doing the right thing, and I think that's really admirable. And so I try and watch that and see what he's doing.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the casting desk the man of honor, the man of the hour, the Fudge Factor, joining us for a tri-cast here today. Fudge, it is great to have you
Dressed up a little bit too.
Thank you. I got my
Looking
great
fancy.
tie. I'm ready for this TL vs TSM match. We got Bwipo vs Solo, the two best top laners in the league, not according to my tier list. So I look forward to watching them. Oh, we got champ select already.
Yeah, we're in. We're gonna
damn.
get started here. You took some time on the Fudge tier list.
Yeah,
So-
it's my bad. You know, I
well
didn't really think about it
thought out.
beforehand. I should have prepared it a little bit more, but you know,
It's
I like
hard
to go on the
doing them,
fly.
man. It's hard. I
So-
think you killed it.
What are you looking forward to most in this matchup here, Fudge?
Honestly, I think that TSM, I mean, we scrimmed them twice this week, as I said before, and I don't really feel like any of their players are too much of carries other than Spica and Maple, especially in early game. I find that they're very good in early game. And they're usually the ones that really like play in a lot and seem to be moving around the map together, which is what you want out of your mid jungle. Instinct, I actually think has been playing pretty well. Like, I don't think he's been playing too poorly, despite like him coming in like not really on the roster at the start of the split. So I think it's going to be interesting to see. But we also have Wippo Gangplank, as per usual. He is, I think, probably might even be better than me at Gangplank, actually. I think he's very, very good at Gangplank. So
That's high praises, my friend.
yeah, it is. Because I think I'm pretty good at Gangplank as well. Usually people bend it against me.
He had a really good game on it last week. He had like the 11 kill GP game.
Exactly.
Are you in the Bwipo train of thought? Because when Bwipo was on the cast, he was flaming the Ravenous Hydra GP build. So are you a crit fan?
I swear, when I was scrimming against him, he was going like Hullbreaker GP, which I think is also terrible. So I don't really know. Maybe I was getting him mixed up with someone else, but yeah, I agree with him that the crit is just way better.
This is going to be a new tradition. Every time we get a new top laner on, they can flame the previous top laner's build.
No, I mean, I think that what he was saying was completely correct. I was actually listening to it. I thought he was really doing a really good job, and what he was saying was mostly true.
All right, so we've got
Mostly.
the Gangplank for TL. The response is Ornn Viego from TSM. So you're saying that Spica and Maple are the carries on TSM. Viego, a pretty good pick for carry.
Yeah, I think Spica is quite good at Viego from playing against him. And obviously, I think that he's consistently been pretty good at team fighting, actually, throughout the past couple of years. So I think it's good that they put him on that. And also put Solo in a matchup where you're not really going to try to outplay them. You're sort of just playing to neutralize the Gangplank and play for team fighting.
And I feel like that's been Solo's career, right? Like when he comes in and plays for these teams, they need stability in the top lane. They bring in Solo. You know what you're getting. He's a solid weak side top lane player. You know, and he's going to be able to play these tank matchups, give up the minimum, and hopefully scale and enable the carries. But I mean, when you're playing Ornn, it does feel like you need someone who's really going to bring the damage, and you're already feeling like, okay, you're looking at hyperscaling mid laner or bot laner, if not both, because you're already building towards what is probably going to be 5v5. And if they lock Sylas, then Instinct is really going to have to be a high damage carry.
I'm not a big fan of the Sylas pick here, honestly, just because I don't think any ulti is too impactful in teamfighting. And once you pick Ornn, you sort of lock yourself into
5v5.
Relying on 5v5, and your 5v5 is generally not going to be much better than versus playing a mage.
And now it kind of feels like as well, like if you're TL, what marksman are you targeting, right? Because we already have Zeri taken off the table. Like we know that Instinct is going to have to play some sort of a hyper carry.
Right.
Like what kind of things are you thinking about for pick ban?
I assume Jinx is probably going to be a big thing. I'm actually surprised that they picked MF blind like this. We actually play against TL today, tomorrow, so this is interesting. You know, I'm gonna have to make sure I take some notes on this. My team's probably doing a draft meeting right now, actually, without me, so I'm gonna let them do the work. But I think Jinx is likely the best hypercarry ADC that you are looking for. Lucian Nami is okay as well, but I'm actually surprised to see MF. I've actually never seen MF blind pick like this before, so this is interesting.
Well, they do have powerful AoE with Gangplank ulti, with barrels, with the Wukong ulti as well, MF. There's some powerful zone control there for the side of TL so far.
I mean, it feels like TL really needs lockdown, right? Like they need engage. And I wonder if Nautilus is actually going to be left up, because I feel like Nautilus with MF and GP and Wukong is just like the easy answer. So unless TSM is actually grabbing Nautilus here on 4, I'm kind of surprised that they would leave it up, because it feels like the obvious pick.
Yeah, and I also think that they really need some sort of engage, because they picked Sylas and versus Gangplank and MF, and you're obviously needing to engage with Ornn, Sylas, Viego, such short range. So I really hope that they decide to ban Nautilus here for TL, because as they did just now, I think it's what's required, some sort of engage from the support of TSM.
All right, gentlemen, let's see what we get here. We need to see both bottom lane components for the side of TSM, whereas I need to see mid and support for TL. And there's the Jinx, exactly as predicted, Fudge, with the Giga Brain.
Well, it's definitely a very popular pick right now. I think Jinx is probably the best pick that would be able to win this game for them, because they really need some sort of damage in late game team fights.
I do just find it interesting though that TL didn't actually target the marksman, instead target the supports, because there's such a big pool of supports I think that can actually slot in. It's like, yeah, these are banned out, but there's still like Rakan and Rel and Alistar and all these other ones that can kind of slot in and do similar things. Where I feel like when you look at the marksman pool, it is more limited. Like there's not as many champions that can be Jinx, right?
Yeah, and I think maybe they were thinking that Senna Tahm Kench is a problem for MF in laning phase, which is why they've been Tahm Kench, and Nautilus is obviously very good engage. Wow.
Syndra.
Okay.
All right, a classic.
Oh, I'm interested to see this Bard pick, actually. I think Bard is okay here, but you do only have really mid lane to play around with Bard. I don't think Ornn is very good with Bard.
He could also just be hovering because it's Chime.
I think it's a namesake.
It is
hover.
Chime, but I'm wondering what he will even pick here. I guess Braum is not the best pick in my opinion, but I like seeing the Syndra out of Bjergsen, because I do think this matchup is very good for Syndra. It's very hard for Sylas to win all-ins, and you sort of just poke him out in early game.
And the ult steal is so worthless, because you only get the 3 orbs, right? Like you can't actually stack orbs and do a lot of damage with it, so you're not really that threatened by it. Braum just feels like a neutralizing pick, right? It's like, I can stop the MF ult, I can stop, Syndra, but it doesn't necessarily feel like it's going to have an easy time navigating in a lot of these team fights, and they're super reliant on solo now, I think, to be that primary engage. Like, it's a little bit tough, I think, to not have any sort of engage from your support.
So can I operate under the assumption then that you guys are saying TL won the draft?
I think this draft almost puts all your eggs in Instinct as TSM, and I think Instinct is just insane, and he plays really well in laning phase. He has really high CS numbers, has good items in team fights. He can play well in those team fights and actually find ways to carry, but I do believe that there's so much pressure on him, despite him being a sort of new player, so I really doubt that he'll be able to perform as well as he needs to be.
Yeah, I think TL just have so many more options, right? Like, it's a really good matchup mid. If Rakan and Braum are roaming, like, who do you favor? Of course, the Rakan, I think, has more ability to impact the map. GP can actually affect cross-map as well, so it does feel like TL have a lot more windows, a lot more opportunities to make plays happen, where, on the TSM side, it feels like you're going to try to aim to neutralize and hope you can get those 5v5s where you can protect Instinct and he can go off.
I think it's actually interesting to see what's going to happen this game.
Bjergsen. Have you seen that?
I've never seen First Strike on Syndra, but also I just don't really see Syndra too much recently anyway.
Right, yeah. She's a bit of a remnant of the past almost.
It is kind of cool though into a melee matchup. I can actually
Right.
see it, right?
Yeah.
Because I do think you know, there are some mid laners that you see it sometimes on. You know, like First Strike Cassin was popular for a little bit into some of the easy matchups to proc it. I think it can make some sense. So it's not bad. And I mean, it's one of those runes that I feel like people don't give enough respect to its scaling damage. Like, it's
Right.
not just gold. Early game, it is kind of just gold, but late game, it's like 10% damage amp is significant.
Yeah.
I love the battling chant at the
Yeah.
beginning of every one of these matchups between the teams that have been around for so long and have
Let's
built
go
up these bigger fan
TSM!
bases. Yeah.
I love TSM.
Yeah, you can be as biased as you want, by the way.
Yeah.
They can fire us for that, but you
You
do
have
whatever you want.
fun, bro. You can kind of just do whatever you want.
Honestly, I want
It's like,
TSM
hey, he
to
said
win.
it, wasn't us.
I want TSM to win mainly because we need TL's mental to be a little bit broken for next
Oh, okay. He's
So-
planning ahead for tomorrow.
So really, you're cheering for yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're just cheering for myself.
I respect that.
Interesting to see they sweep level 1 ward. They might be planning an invade, actually.
Yeah, it does feel like they're looking for a little
Braum,
bit.
Sylas, obviously very strong level 1. And Rakan is generally going to be weaker. Jinx is much stronger than MF in early lane.
TL have 5
level
here,
1
though.
ult.
Yeah.
Is Solo here? Is he top? Solo's top. So it's
Yeah.
Yell's aware of what's going on here.
So hopefully they see Gangplank and they can just run away, but this is looking a little rough for them. Yeah.
CoreJJ lost bone plating there. TSM backing out now. They're recognizing that TL, they read what's going on. I like the attempt from TSM, but even more so, I like the fact that they did not overdo it, commit to something that was already taken care of. So anyway, that's going to mean both of our junglers starting off on the bottom half of the map and should be pathing bot to top side. Maybe somebody will do one of those cheeky level 2 ganks like we saw last game, but we'll have to see.
It's a little bit awkward for GP now, though, because he actually lost experience on all 3 melees. And he might lose range as well. No,
He was able to
get that. So,
But it is really rough for Gangplank, especially when he has first strike. He wants to be able to come into the lane and start queuing him down and getting the first auto attack on trades. He actually got it there, which is really good for him. But not being able to push his Gangplank in this matchup makes it really, really rough because it's not going to allow you to have a very good lane state at level 6, which is when Ornn wants to all in with Spellbook and Ignite once they've both teleported back to lane.
So how much more nervous are you, against Spellbook Ornn at 6 when you're playing First Strike versus Grass, right? Like, how much of a difference do you actually think that makes for the matchup?
I think the only big difference it makes is that Grass will be able to, you'll get a bigger lane advantage pre-6, which will then allow you to have a better lane state, so you don't really...
Doesn't have to go.
Yeah, it doesn't. You don't have to all in him. I would say like it's around the same at level 6 if you have this same similar lane state, which won't really happen. I think Grasp is way stronger than First Strike in majority of early game.
Back here in mid lane, Bjergsen and Maple. Just not a whole lot going on here early. We were talking a little bit during Champ Select about how it's difficult for Sylas to find the all-ins here, right? It's more of just like Bjergsen will be able to play him poke him down and shouldn't really be that major threat on his life without some intervention there coming out from Spica.
Yeah, and it's actually interesting to see Sylas getting pushed on Syndra. I'm not really sure what happened. Maybe because of the level 1, Sylas was able to maybe get the 3 melees. And oh no, Syndra also got the 3 melees, but seemingly he got pushed in the first couple waves, which is quite good for him. He was not really going to get poked down.
Yes, this is a matchup you said you do really like for Syndra. We got Mr. Worldwide here. We got the mid lane. We got the top lane. Yeah, talking about mid lane now too. How do you feel about like Sylas in this matchup? Because obviously he went D shield. He's not going corrupting, which feels like way more popular. Generally, when I've seen these kind of matchups, it's the Sylas comes in, spams out the corrupting potion, tries to use that, as a resource to push in the wave and then reset.
Yeah, I think D shield is actually a lot better. And when I used to play this matchup in mid lane, it wasn't really a thing for Sylas to go D shield. Second Wind and D-Shield together makes it almost impossible to get poked out of lane by any of these mages. And especially considering Syndra doesn't have Aerie or Scorch, which is usually what people go on Syndra bully lane really hard, I don't think he's really going to have any troubles getting through laning phase and getting to maybe Lost Chapter first recall.
Yeah, Bjergsen, mana bar down to about 1/3. He's going to take that first recall here with Maple just farming up the minions underneath the turret. Team Liquid out to a very, very modest gold lead here at the start. The Scuttle Crabs were traded 1-for-1 as well.
So it's actually interesting to see where Syndra doesn't have teleport, so she doesn't want to stay in the lane against Sylas, because if she ends up staying in the lane, Sylas starts trading on her, he'll be able to TP back and then get a lane advantage through that. So he needs to recall, but also this allows Sylas to stay longer in lane and possibly get Lost Chapter to her only having Tier and Amp token.
And that's one of the advantages you get.
Oh,
but now, bottom side Instinct in a little bit of trouble here as Hans and CoreJJ are putting on the pressure.
And now CoreJJ has Flash and Ignite, so you have to be very careful here. The heal gets forced out. Chime has no E up right now, so it is a little bit of a danger zone. They're going to just have to use the heal defensively to just be able to farm up this wave, but it gets pretty awkward.
Yeah.
He has to leave.
Yeah,
they
he's
need
gone.
equal. And maybe you could argue because Viego's here, you can stay, but it's like you're just going to keep getting choked out.
Yeah.
Also, something interesting to see is top lane is going really, really well for Solo.
Oh, CoreJJ with the flash onto the ignite. He's walking back towards the turret.
Wait, he's
So
down
he may
aggro.
take the turret aggro toward CoreJJ. He tries to get away. He stays alive. Hot Summer with the body block. CoreJJ with the escape yet again. Hot now in trouble. Winter's Bite gonna proc the stun. They're still trying to get out. Flash out from TL's bottom laners. All 4 summoner spells. CoreJJ walking back into turret while ignite was ticking.
Yeah, and here for Spica, he actually messed up his E on the wall. So he E'd the middle of the lane, so he wasn't able to get the move speed to chase Rakan down. I think he actually messed up there, and he wasn't able to chase Rakan, which I think Rakan was definitely dead if he played it a bit better. But it's still really, really good outcome for TSM's bot lane, considering the lane state was so terrible. Now MF's going to probably miss cannon, and Jinx is going to be able to get a recall.
Yeah, that's all 4 sums down. Like, that is kind of rough for TL, as you said, from the position that they were in. And Core just miscalculated. Like, he only needed 1 more auto there to actually get the kill, but thought that the Ignite had enough damage to actually finish him off from that spot. But, you know, as he walks back to try to E through the tower, you get stunned up, you get chompers or whatever it was, and you have tower aggro from the Ignite.
Yeah, and here, as you can see, the Ornn has Ignite and ulti, so Wippo is probably calling that he needs Santorin to push out the wave, because otherwise if he walks up 1v1 here, there's no way he's going to be able to find a base, because he's never going to be able to catch the wave. He uses ulti actually instead, despite Santorin coming up, which is actually really bad. It wastes a lot of Santorin's time. Santorin probably wastes about 30 seconds just coming up top lane, and ends up ulting anyway, so it's pretty good lane stay for Solo, actually. He's doing a really, really good job, obviously, because his level 1 was really helpful.
Yeah, he's got a farm lead. Like you said, they end up wasting the enemy jungler's time by still using the ulti anyway. And now that there's no Gangplank ultimate available, that means the other half of the map is also safe from that possibility of contributing to the fight. Hans and Core once again have control over the lane, once again shoving TSM back underneath the turret, but with Chime and Instinct stepping up, they know something else has to be going down here. The flashes are gone from the TL bottom lane, but CoreJJ and Hans are fighting back 2 versus 3. TSM not willing to take the fight, even though Santorin isn't here yet. That's not their read. Spica's at 200 HP. TL just whooped them down a man.
And this is really, really good for TL. Obviously, they're going to be able to get their blue buff on Syndra and probably get their own buff as well, because Viego's not able to trade after being so low. So this is a very, very good scenario for TL. It's exactly what they want.
Yeah, I mean, Spica spent a lot of time waiting around there. He was over the wall there for a good 20 seconds or so, you know, trying to find that angle. So when they actually get out-fought 2v3, as you say, Santorin can take that for himself. Smite upgrade. They can give the next blue over to Bjergsen. So Bjergsen's going to have a pretty significant advantage. And
oh, the slow, the bullet time. Nice Chime there, intercepting a couple of those waves, but another time, every time this camera comes down into bottom lane, my friends, Instinct is at 200 HP and he's trying to walk it home.
Yeah, and TL's bot lane is really playing very well, and even though he doesn't kill him with the ulti there, he forces him to recall, which is all you really need. He's just going to keep continuing to get plates, keep continuing to get a gold lead through CS.
it also feels you know, more tough than normal for Maple to lose the blue, because he didn't start Corrupting Potion and he didn't get to his Lost Chapter recall. He just now did. But you have some serious mana problems when you don't have Lost Chapter yet.
Yeah, and I think recently people have been going 3-point stew on Sylas a lot more rather than WMax,
Yeah, for the wave clear.
which used to be a lot more mana intensive. You used to need like biscuits a lot more. And nowadays people can just go second wind and just go Qmax, so you don't use as much mana, hopefully. It'll be fine for him in lane.
Well, first blood has still not occurred yet. Just about 9 minutes into the game here. Second round of buffs coming up. You can see those are going to be passed off to mid laners and whatnot. Where are we really expecting that action? We've seen attempts in bottom lane. Is bottom lane going to be the name of the game, or are we expecting somewhere else to pop up instead?
So the thing here is like, Ornn versus Gangplank generally, Ornn is much, much stronger in the Herald fights. So hopefully, if I'm Ornn, I'm calling like my team, I really want to fight this Herald, and hopefully the Sylas can take either GP ulti or Wukong ulti, and hopefully TL's bot lane, despite having their advantage, isn't going to be able to affect this. But it looks like TSM's actually just going to trade Dragon for Herald or some sort of bot side play, which is quite bad for Ornn's lane, I would say, just because he's going to get slowly outscaled because he's making gold way less with Gangplank's parley.
You can see Solo walking down into the river. He can kind of not really do anything other than watch this Herald be taken. TL has the man advantage there. Yes, Spica and Maple are both in mid lane, but they can't rotate over fast enough. So there's the trade, the Herald, but not even really traded for the Drake, as that wasn't picked.
It wasn't even really a trade because Spica actually did come up late. So now they're going to start it up. Bot does have push, so they are going to try to move over to this Dragon. Bjergsen's on a recall. He's not playing TP, so this will be TSM's
Late
Dragon.
trade.
So will be, you know, delayed trade there. But Do you think that's a situation where TSM is focusing too much on the fact that they want Jinx to just scale and not enough on the fact that, hey, maybe Ornn does have the advantage on top side right now?
Looking at it then, it seemed like TSM thought that they wanted to fight the Herald, but they were a bit late. They might have not thought that Wukong and Gangplank would start up the Herald so fast, because Ornn was still trying to contest whilst Viego trying to cross into River to fight them, so it might have just been a little bit of a mistake on their part, not knowing how fast they could do Herald.
1,000 gold lead for TL despite no kills on the board. A big part of that, down here in bottom lane. 94 to 72 CS. Hans, Sama, and Core doing a good job forcing their opponents out of lane, making them waste as much time as possible with recalls, with walking away from all this aggro, taking those turret plates and building up these leads as Bwipo disengages from solo there on top side.
And I mean, Hans is not only, his rune choice with the comment, pretty lane focused, but he's actually 4 points east. So he's going, Emax even with the Eclipse build. Yeah. I've seen more commonly people do a couple points, and only really do the max if they're going Leandries. Yeah. So this does seem a little bit atypical to be going Eclipse with Emax, but it is going to make your lane a lot stronger.
Oh, the flash follow with the bonk over the head. First blood. It explodes and it's instantly done as TL take out instinct.
Yeah, this is also a really big disaster because they have Herald, so they're just going to be able to take the entire bot tower, and then what's end up going to happen is they're going to be able to bail GP out of this lane where he's sort of just slowly losing to Ornn. And he's just going to be able to farm really easily. They're just going to swap, and there's nothing that TSM can really do to trade because of Gangplank ulti.
So I take it we're probably still not feeling too great about the instinct hard carry factor here.
Yeah, it's a really rough scenario. I think this is like a very, very big win condition for TSM, seeming like it's sort of just going downhill for them.
I mean, it's 11 minutes in, and he's 1,500 gold down individually to the enemy marksman, so that is brutal. On top of even going Swifty.
Yeah, that's interesting.
He's like really, kind of emphasizing, it feels like the mood speed differential. You have tremendous slows with your Emax. Right. You have GP slows. You have, Syndra kind of zoning and stuff, and it feels like they're trying to just kind of keep range and not allow, the core of like Spica and Maple and Solo and Chime and stuff to actually ever close the gap.
Exactly. I actually really like it. I think exactly as you said, they need to engage, and him having that much move speed doesn't really allow them to really do anything, especially with Syndra and Gangplank helping him as well. So yeah. I actually really like this. It's kind of creative.
It's like you're so reliant on the Ornn ulti, right? Yeah. And even if you get tagged by the first half of the Ornn ult, you activate your W for the strut, and you have Swifty move speed. I don't think you should ever get hit by the second part of the Ornn ulti. Exactly. And if you can't hit that, you're never getting to the MF. So like builds like this to me are really, really cool because it feels like the player's actually thinking a lot about what the enemy win conditions are. And to me, it's often more important to build towards like, what if there's only one way for them to win, how do I stop it, right? And this is really, really cool.
And also, go ahead.
I was about to say, this is coming from the mega mind that created Warmog's Veigar in ARAM. Like that is the Azael classic.
Nice.
So I always enjoy seeing players do the same thing, right? Like how often, Fudge, as somebody who plays in this level of games every single week, how often do you find yourself having those moments where you're like, wait a second, we do need to deviate from what's accepted as the traditional build?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really hard thing to do, but as we can see, I think Wippo's dead here.
Wippo got clipped by the knock-up, and he's out of there. Nice. Spica takes the kill.
This is really, really good for TSM. This is exactly what they need. They need some sort of picks because they're never going to be able to win through bot side here, so it's really, really good that they look for Wippo, and I think that's something Spica's really good at doing, actually, is finding those picks when they're in bad positions. Used to do it on me a lot, especially last year. That guy kept pissing me off, honestly.
It's just a jungle diff, Anytime you die, it's not bad positioning. You expected your jungler to be there.
I feel like that's the biggest compliment you can give someone that you play as an opponent is, man, this guy is so good, it pisses me off having to play against him sometimes.
Yeah. Santorin's down 3 levels.
Yeah, that is...
almost level 9.
Yeah. Closing in.
It's a bit rough though for Wippo because not only did he die, he lost his flash and no summons were expended on the other side, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think he was obviously trying to flash the R2 from the Ornn, but he kind of flashed into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe didn't wait long enough to actually fully see where it's coming out.
Also interesting. Oh, that's
TV blank.
Yeah, Hans Sama running into the river.
So much move speed.
He knows something's going on here. He tries to get away. Yeah, I mean, you've got the speedy boots. He can just get away. CoreJJ jumps to him for safety. TSM commit 4 men to try to make this collapse, but TL is fast enough to just walk it off.
I feel like the MF walking animation too. It's so annoying, which is just strutting away.
Yeah, you're just so annoyed. This is really rough. They definitely, you can definitely see the desperation from them because they don't feel like they can really win if they keep playing slowly. Obviously, TL's just gonna keep outscaling them, so they feel the need to make these TP plays. But MF obviously is really, really hard to get on top of. She still has flash, she still has heal, they still have Rakan, they have everything. It's not even close.
And it's not even like Maple had an ult stolen to actually help that up, but Spica will get pushed out.
Yeah, Spica happened to flash away to get away from that one. Santorin using the ulti, just trying to all-in him there. Spica will manage to escape, but that means there is no flash available on this Viego for the next big fight that breaks out, as TL now has 4 players top of their own. CoreJJ could lead the charge here. There comes your knockup. There comes your bullet time, and there goes the TSM AD carry.
I mean, TL are just playing so well to what the win condition is for TSM, right? It's just non-stop focus. Instinct goes up towards top side. They roam up Bjergsen, even pops Ghost early to make sure he's the first to arrive. And they just hammer it home. As long as Jinx isn't farming, you are winning the game. And like, even just purely farm-wise, he's way behind the pace of the game. You know, down at 116. The second lowest carry in the game is 142 of Bwipo.
Yeah, and also, even if like they happen to not kill Jinx there, they can sort of just wait out the Ornn teleport and just back off. GP can just push bot, and he also still has ulti. But looking here now, it looks like Bwipo's dead again, considering he has no flash. I don't really see a way of him getting out.
Well, he tries to drop a barrel, ever frosted. They just jump back in. Maple doesn't find the stun on him, ends up just hitting the minion, but it won't really matter a whole lot. Wippo is down, but his life will be traded away for Rift Herald #2 up in the top.
Top lane does not matter, guys. I'm sorry to say, but like, you guys
We all saw your game earlier.
Like, yeah, we saw my game earlier. Look what happened. I died to a dive. It doesn't fucking matter, bro. My jungler is playing Olaf. My team is better, so we will win.
That's what I said on the broadcast. Is as a top laner, you know better than anybody that if the rest of the map is winning and you're losing, you're fine with that.
Yeah, exactly. You always want that. Looks like Bjergsen might try to chase.
It's also the perfect opportunity if you get absolutely gapped top lane and your team wins.
Better top win.
Better top wins at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Because you know the top laner is fuming because their role is so useless.
Honestly, it's like if you play really well, you beat the enemy top laner. For me, even if you lose, it's sort of like, I mean, I played well, you know.
It's a personal dub.
It's like
Give yourself a gold star.
Yeah, good job, guys. I didn't do too bad.
Some of the back.
It's an L in the win column, but you know, treat yourself that night.
Yeah, you played pretty well.
Yeah, I respect it.
So at
Top
least
laners gotta take the wins where they can get them.
Exactly.
And right now, TSM's taking the small wins they can find. They've got 2 Drakes compared to the 0 of Team Liquid. That's about all that's really in their favor at this point in the game. A 4,000 gold lead at 17 minutes for the side of TL is very, very scary. So I want to ask you guys, like, your TSM, the pressure is on. You know how well TL scale. What's the play?
The thing is usually you'll try to trade, look for picks on side, but here, because TL has Rift Herald, it's very likely that it's going to play into top side, try to get 2 towers top lane with the Herald, using possibly even going mid with Gangplank after him pushing bot. They can even look to Herald mid lane and then look to get top tower. So they have, you sort of just have to react to whatever TL's doing just because they have the Herald, which is a really, really rough position to be in, especially when behind, because if you have to match the enemy team once behind, you sort of just lose in every play.
And this is one of the reasons that I think it can be really hard to play out like solo engage comps, right? Where you only have Ornn, because when the only time TL have to be worried whatsoever is if Ornn is there, right?
Exactly.
And if you see Ornn in the side lane, if he's on a wave, then there's no concern. They can walk forward, they can harass constantly, because the Braum doesn't have any potential to actually make a pick happen or really threaten. So all they have to do is pay respect to when Ornn shows up, watch out for those engages, and I think TL can kind of do whatever they want on the map.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can see some of the poke underneath the turret that was hitting Instinct there, as Hansama does have the Eclipse plus Manamune, Muramana, whatever you want to call that entirely evolved item. That thing, those 2 items together, man, that is scary. This Jinx has such a difficult time going anywhere within range of Miss Fortune.
Yeah, it's really, really rough. Honestly, they're looking to fight now.
Okay, Spica's lost about half HP there. Gets back over behind Chime just in case the bullet time was going to come out, but Hans knows the Braum is there. He's not going to waste the cooldown. But these guys are scary, man. TL is so far ahead. These damage spikes, particularly around this Miss Fortune. And this is sort of what I was talking about when we were looking at the draft. The damage control, the zone control they're going to have. Solo go after Santorin here. Finds the knock-up. Santorin does not have his clone still available. Solo's keeping the chase alive. Manages to scare him away, but can't find the kill.
Yeah, he was defending his blue side, honestly, so it's not too bad to use ulti and push Wukong out. Ulti for ulti trade is not too bad, but it also delays what he wants to do, which is use Herald right now. So he's probably going to take red buff so he can get a lot of regen and then possibly look to Herald mid. But also Jinx is in base right now, so they'll just lose mid tower naturally, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, that never feels too great. Hansama is going to get the solo credit there on that. Never mind, Santorin ended up grabbing 50 gold from it. That's okay. And then Hans just gets to crash another wave into the mid turret. Hans up 50 CS here against his lane opponent. Maple stealing away the Rakan ultimate in case they try to dive him. He wants to be able to lock someone up to try to take somebody with him. Hans with a little bit of damage back over the wall here again. And TL have now taken 4 turrets to the 0 of TSM. It is a 6,000 gold lead as we crest the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, and here obviously Ornn actually gets the push out bot lane, so he's able to defend the tier 2 top lane, which is a very good timing for TSM to be able to defend the Herald. Otherwise, they possibly would have lost the tier 2 if Gangplank was the one that had push in bot lane, and Ornn wasn't able to defend. So thankfully, they did not lose too much, but they're sort of just slowly losing and going to probably just lose all team fights for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tough when it's TL is the one that gets to choose every time they fight, right?
Yeah.
Like they're the ones that get to actually decide where they're gonna have these altercations. And you know, even things like that where no one dies, they move up towards top, they zone Maple off the wave, he loses the cannon, loses some gold, they get the tower. They're never really in threat because as soon as Solo actually bases from bot, TL starts to respect the fact that he can move up, his ult's gonna be back up. I guess the copium angle is maybe that first Ornn item is through, you know, you're kind of like hoping
That's a pretty big huff of the copium.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's pretty rough out here for sure.
Yeah, interestingly here, now Gangplank, after pushing out bot lane, decides to base and defend top lane himself. Hopefully he won't be able to get dove, but he might actually just die here if he doesn't see... Oh, he doesn't see them on the blue trinket. He's going to die, I think. Yeah, he's dead.
Wippo. Okay. He does a pretty good job defending himself here at the start, but not enough just yet, or is it? Okay, Maple goes back in, uses his own stopwatch to get him out. So Wippo takes 2 of them low, but he's not going to bring anybody with him. It is the day of bullying the top laner of the winning team.
Yeah, top lane's really weak, honestly, but also Jinx dying once again. As per usual, it's a trade. I'll take that trade if I'm Bwipo any day of the week. They just get to hit this mid tower. It's almost one health. They'll just be able to kill whenever they really want to. So this is a really, really rough time, even though they are getting really good trades, and this is exactly what TSM need. They need to look at these trades onto top side of the map or onto the top laner.
There's just nothing you can do here.
Yeah, as you can see, he's trying to defend on his own. He can't really do anything.
Nice patience from CoreJJ. They're not going in too early, allowing any opportunity of a juke there by instinct. Just make sure that, hey, I'm on this side of you, you're stuck in bullet time range, there's nowhere to go. As Maple just keeps trying to take this turret. TSM is still looking for their first turret of the game. A huge part of this gold difference is the fact that there's so much objective control from TL. They've stopped the Drake stacking now as well by grabbing that third one, keeping TSM away from Soul Point. It feels like we're going from bad to worse here for the side of TSM as they're just not able to find that footing. You guys already talked about TL's focus onto Instinct as that win con, and 22 minutes in, the Jinx is 0-3-0.
Yeah, and usually at this point in the game, you're as the losing team, you're sort of looking for the item spike where you aren't going to be a full item behind, and you're going to like try to fight on your 2 items compared to their 2.5.
Yeah.
But unfortunately here, it looks like Instinct's probably going to hit about 2 items as MF hits her third, so it's really, really rough.
Oh, Spica getting caught here. Uses the ulti to go over the wall as bullet time comes out. Santorin keeps on chasing. Instinct wants to get away. There still should be enough damage for Santorin to chase him down. TSM trying to retreat. One more hit over the head will do it, but now they might lose Bwipo again.
Top lane is weak.
TSM's taking that one. It's a bad day to play top lane, but it's a good day to be on TL, as now they're going to back out again. Being a little bit careful here. Chime and Solo coming around from the side as Hansama backs up. Solo now your target, but he's a beefy, beefy boy. 4v4 on the map. Honestly, an even trade. Again, if you're TSM, I guess you'll take those, but again, it's your AD carry dead. All 4 kills for TL have been on Instinct. All 4 kills for TSM have been on Wippo.
This is so funny.
These teams hate these guys.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like the funniest trade of all time. Which is better, bot lane or top lane, and which is weaker? As we can see, yeah. Bot lane is broken, and top lane is weak.
It is, it's a rough one for, I mean, if Instinct was getting some of the kills on these trades and it was actually him getting gold, then I do think it's good for TSM, but he's never involved. He's only involved, with the gray screen, right? Like,
he's involved.
He's got a very close personal relationship with the gray screen at this point.
He's got a very close personal relationship with Wukong's stick. Wait for it, boom. There it is. It doesn't take a whole lot for Jinx to die to Wukong, and then Wippo's just like, all right, guys, here we go again.
Good trade, good trade. I'll take it.
Okay, I'm a little bit worried for TSM, my friends. I don't know, because you can see also here, Cyrilda's Grudge done for Hansama. Such a scary item, adds the slow to the bullet time, making it so much more difficult to escape that without taking massive amounts of damage.
Yeah, and as you can see from Santorin, he has Black Cleaver on Wukong, which is really, really good for his ultimate, and also considering he has Gangplank and MF, who are very heavy physical damage. Ooh, right now.
Okay, Spica gets charmed up a little bit. CoreJJ interrupted there by the second part of the Ornn ulti. But now Solo gets stunned up. TSM still seeing if they can find something here. Maple stealing away the quickness but he cannot connect with that one. So CoreJJ loses his ulti. He doesn't honestly end up with 2 damage to the health bar. Still got about 60%. Santorin coming in, looking to see if he can find the knockoff. Oh, come on! He's just getting bullied at this point. We finally have a non-instinct death as Chime falls. TL still looking to see if they can make it go a little bit further. Instinct! He lived! But for how long? Wippo's coming in. The barrels are
really
coming
nice
out.
barrel.
The bells are coming through, and Instinct's in the dirt again. Maple's gonna join them. 3 dead for nothing. TL takes the fight.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a really, really rough time for TSM, but I think I saw Instinct's face cam after he died, and he's sort of just laughing. You know, that's all you can really do at this point. There's nothing you can really do anymore, right?
You laugh or you cry when it's getting this bad,
you know, you've already made those mistakes in the early game. You can't really do too much anymore. You sort of just have to accept the reality is you just gotta, you know, not make those mistakes again.
Yep, learning experience, right? Well, CoreJJ and Bjergsen trying to fight back here mid in the 2v2 against Spica and Chime. The Baron is taken by the other 3 players on TL. They're at an 11,000 gold lead. They got 3 minutes of Baron. That mid lane tier 2 is going to be knocked down by a stiff breeze. Man, TL's feeling good now.
Yeah, they are looking really, really good, and they can pretty much force any fight that they want, right? GP ulti gets dropped on top of Instinct. That's going to allow Santorin to close the gap. You know, Instinct has to flash out of there immediately. There's nothing he can really do, but everyone from TL is already wrapping around this side, cutting off any sort of an escape.
Yeah, exactly. And MF ulti will just one-shot everyone with Serylda's. Actually, look at Bwipo's barrel here. I thought it was pretty impressive. He got a nice, people like to call it phantom barrel. Then he got a QE, boom, onto Viego. He doesn't kill him.
Yeah.
He doesn't kill him, but I thought it was pretty cool, you know? I can appreciate that.
It was cool to look.
I can
right?
appreciate that as a top laner, you know? It's pretty hard to do, especially in a team fight like that.
I mean, you were complimenting his Gangplank skills, so hey, there it is. That's some of those skills right there, chaining the... Oh.
It's a little rough.
Hey.
It's rough out here.
Look, Spica and Solo worked together and did over 100 damage, all right? So we've got...
That's not too bad, you know?
That's teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, baby.
Yeah, we gotta be positive, guys.
100 more than CoreJJ.
Really, Chime gapped CoreJJ.
Yeah, really.
That's my big takeaway there.
CoreJJ rolled a donut on that one.
He might have even been ahead in CS. I didn't know.
Oh, I love CS.
He's got to beat by
CSD?
4.
Oh,
Plus
baby.
4, baby. Plus 4 CSD.
I love CSD on support.
All right, well, TL is looking to end this game pretty soon here. 90 seconds left on the Baron. They find Wippo, but Wippo actually has help now, so it's a lot harder to commit for that kill onto the top laner. As you're going to see TSM back it up a little bit further. You've still got this one lone cannon minion just doing his work down here, enchanted with the Baron buff, plinking away at the HP there on the tier 3. Hanstama's going to finish that one off. Bjergsen right next to him. They will take down inhibitor number 2. They don't have a wave up top, so they're not going to try to 3-piece this with the inhibitors. They're just going straight into the Nexus turrets themselves. TSM will try to defend, but it's a tall order. Santorin jumps in. He's going to spin around a little bit, but ain't going to find any valuable targets just yet. Solo is absolutely deleted here on the front line. Instinct dead. I don't know. Dude, I can't even do like team fight epic announcer voice for that one. The poor guy's just...
And TL with an amazing game, completely obliterating TSM. Very surprising, honestly. I did not expect Wippo to have this up of a game. We'll have to see how it goes tomorrow when I play against him. The 2 top players that were terrible still won both today's games.
Oh, so now is
Beautifully done.
It's the strategy for tomorrow then. You're just gonna try to sprint it as hard as you can.
Yeah, I hope my ball lane wins. That's all I'm saying.
That's what it's all about, baby. The top lane man himself. But now, Fudge, you're gonna have to be the one who has a little bit of an extra role here in this post game, I believe.
Baby.
I believe we need to say goodbye to you now as you go down to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar with what's about to happen, the Fudge Factor himself is gonna be conducting the post-game interview. So Fudge, go ahead, head on down there. Isaac and I will continue to banter back and forth a little bit about this one because honestly, Azael, I don't know if we have a lot of instructional critique here to really make. TSM got flat.
Absolutely, TL really strong showing here today. Well-coordinated game. Wippo gets picked on a little bit, but they knew exactly what TSM's win condition was. It was playing through instinct. It was trying to get this Jinx to a level where she could really carry, because that is the only kind of true damage threat on TSM's side. And TL's bot lane in the 2v2 were constantly threatening. Everywhere that Instinct went, the team would actually roam around the map, look to punish him very, very frequently. TL just looked fully in control. And I mean, mid and top, we're chilling, scaling with both of them playing First Strike. Bjergsen got like, okay, he got 660 gold from First Strike. Wippo got, I think it was 700 from First Strike, plus the parlay gold, plus they had really good farm. So it just felt like TL was playing it really, really well. I liked how the MF build was actually like really fitting the game state as well. You know, he brings out the MF blind, he goes Swifty Boots. The only engage that they have is Ornn, so he's able to so easily sidestep all these Ornn ults, which just meant like MF was never really threatened in any of the fights.
No.
The Emax, I think, was also really smart because it was very much about keeping Instinct down in the lane, which I think that really accomplished. So a lot of credit deserved, I think, by Hansama and Core. They played the 2v2 great. Hans was always in the right place to lane good ultimates in the 5v5, and TL just kind of made this one look pretty easy. But I will say, bright spot for TSM is Solo's laning went pretty well. Like, you know, I do think he was solid up on that top side, but compositionally, it felt like they were kind of checkmated a little bit once the Jinx got behind.
I mean, Fudge said it during Champ Select, right? He says, okay, yeah, TL won the draft. I mean, if TSM has Instinct playing at like peak Uzi levels where he can outplay, sidestep, the rest of the team's just Secret Service for Mr. President as he gets pentakills, yes, it can work. Unfortunately, that's not the case in this. It's been a rocky road here for TSM. There's a lot of substitutions. There's a lot of differentiations. They're not on the level with that much coordination up against a squad like TL that just puts together the goon squad and keeps going after Instinct, just like bam, 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 bam. And there's no way for him to get away.
Yeah, there was nothing he could do. But now we're joining our interviewer, Fudge, alongside Wippo for our Verizon post-game interview.
Hello, everybody.
Hello there.
And today, I'm going to be interviewing you. Unlike last week, where I was sort of the top lane inter on Kayle, and then he had to end me. Now we have Bwipo playing a rough GP game where Solo seemed to focus you a little bit because their bot lane was sort of just getting stomped.
Oh yeah, it was a huge bot lane gap in this game. Fortunately for me, from the level 1 already, I was I walked through the Raptors level 1, and I wanted to make sure my jungler would have a comfortable game. I think I laned pretty well after that, but unfortunately in the mid game, I think huge props to TSM scouting, because I feel like a lot of the decisions I made were decisions I've made in the past, and I think they did a really good job of attacking me on my like questionable habits, where if I get it off, it's really good, but if I get punished, it's like...
Yeah, you got to push the limits in the mid game, you know? Jack Kaiser, the TSM analyst. Shout out to Jack Kaiser, the TSM analyst, for the scouting report on that one.
100%. That was a case of difference there, 100%.
But it's honestly also pretty admirable to see you being so selfless. As a GP, no way I'm ever coming a level 1 to help my jungler get Raptors. And then obviously you ended up getting rewarded for team played pretty well afterwards. And I think, as you said, your laning phase was really hard up to the point because the TP back. But how do you feel like you have been playing recently in terms of the games in laning phase?
I think I've tried very hard to split to try and be very stable as a player. I think one of the biggest criticisms I got, both publicly as well as inside the team, was even though I had a lot of the unique picks, I wasn't always consistent on the staples. Like when I played Ornn or Gangplank, it wasn't what we wanted it to be every single time. And that's generally speaking been an issue in my career. And this split, I really wanted to attack that first before I explored into picking more unique counter picks and whatnot for playoffs. And I think I managed to at least be very stable in the laning phase. And even though it meant that we weren't as exciting as a team because I wasn't taking many risks or playing like super unique picks, I still think it's better to reassure the team that they can rely on me if necessary, and then I can explore some interesting alternatives in the meta.
Yeah, and how do you actually get to those alternative picks that are really like niche, I guess? And I think you're probably the best top laner actually that I know at finding these really unique picks. Like when I played against you, you were playing Swain top against GP, and obviously you found a million different picks as well in the past. So how do you really get through the process of finding these picks?
I think watching the game a lot and being very open-minded is mandatory. I'm a big believer that execution is something that's like, you have to believe in the X factor sometimes, like you look at a draft and it's like, well, you get outscaled, but there's tools, if there's hope, your champions can accomplish something, they can murder some champions on the Rift. I believe that it can win, and I value champions like Singed, Zac, like these are all very unique champions that they're very good at picking people off with very little counterplay in the right scenarios. So I just think to myself, like, if this champion gets to a certain point in the mid game, is it going to be able to perform?
Right.
If the answer is yes, the question is, can I lane? And then the rest of it is just figuring out which matchups I can lane. But I'm a big believer in the second part is, I think professional players get really used to practicing the same matchups.
Right.
So if you bust out something completely new that people haven't played in a while, they don't know how to play, and they get really safe and passive in lane. I remember I blind picked Zac at some point, top lane, and I got played counter picked, and that lane is unlaneable. but he was playing much safer than he needed to, because he thought I knew something that he thought I knew something he didn't, but I really didn't.
Every time I play against you, I feel like you know something I don't with these matches. I'm like, what is happening? This guy's just playing aggressively. I'm not gonna say that. But anyway, tomorrow you're gonna be playing against Cloud9.
Oh yeah.
Gonna be interesting to see who's gonna win that match. How do you feel going into the match?
I think well, if both top laners can accomplish not to die 3 or 4 times by 20 minutes, that'll be a huge improvement from the last week. But other than that, I think it'll be an exciting game. I think C9's looking very interesting. The early games have been quite rough, but today they had a really good early game against FlyQuest, and I think that it shows that they've tried to focus on that and try to be a bit more stable in the early game. And it's going to be interesting to see what they've got prepared for us.
Yeah, and for me as well, I put you as the best top laner other than myself. So it's always going to be a fun matchup. I'm going to be excited to see what you pull out. Please do not cheese me. But anyway, I'm going to be sending it to a commercial break. So everybody, goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Amazing job, TL.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Fudge himself on the casting desk.
Huge. The Fudge factor.
Fudge, I love you. Fudge factor.
TL still looking to see if they can make it go a little bit further. Instinct! He lives! But for how long? Wippo's coming in. The barrels are
really
coming
nice
out,
barrel.
The barrels are coming through, and Instinct's in the dirt again. Maple's gonna join them. 3 dead for nothing. TL takes the fight.
This is a league built on speed and precision, where everything needs to perform at a pro level, especially your hardware.
They block the road. They want to complete the final piece of the puzzle. They don't have enough damage for it, but who cares? It's all a formality, baby. The winner of LCS Lock-In.
Even if you're hard stuck plat, like me, forever. Roccat, the official mouse and keyboard of the LCS.
Just drag them down. You'll always be alone. You're a disappointment. They were never your friends. Why do you even try? Why would anyone be friends with you? You can't take the pressure. Everyone does.